How about that, eh, Fergie?
Very impressed, mate. It's my favourite one. It's now even more my favourite, if that's even possible. I love that class.
Welcome to the Dream Team Tonic podcast. My name is Scott. We've got the usual gang. Ben, how you doing?
Not bad, mate. How are you?
Nah, been crying, and I. Discord's been winding me up. I'm biting.
Is that from the Gabriel own goal off the Haaland assist, is it?
Oh, that could have been a head injury. That. Anyway, Tony, you good?
All good, mate. All good.
And then we've got special guest, former Dream Team winner, Fergie, with us. How are you, mate?
Hello, guys. Yeah, I'm really well. I got a really sour story from the weekend to share, but well, two actually, after taking out Luis Diaz. But other than that, really, really good. Enjoying the season. Really enjoyed the game yesterday, and yeah, football is class. I'm really, really enjoying it. So all the all the comebacks, all the goals, all the a few rogue results and stuff. Really, really enjoying it.
Shame we can't play the sad music anymore for your your story. We get copyright strikes. Didn't you try and you changed up your sad music, didn't you, to try and get away from it?
I changed it. If you search for you can as long as you give credit on some music in the description, you can get it. So have a look at that. Have a look at that, guys.
Copyright free sad music.
Exactly that.
Before we get into our teams, and then we'll let you tell your sad story, we've got a poll going on at the minute to help us patrons name our pod. Payne in Diaz. The two of us have taken Diaz out this week. And then we've got Angel Delict. Ben's brought in the Angel from Man United. So help us vote, choose the name of the pod. Should we get into some teams? You're our guest, Fergie. You go first.
I thought we should have voted for Marcus Rashford.
Yeah, we did say about it, but he's had a hard time, hasn't he, lately? We don't want to push it.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to criticise him, are we? If he plays poorly.
Charlie.
Team's been going okay. I've been hovering around about between 1,000 and 1,500 for the most of the season. I'm down to 2.6 now. Got Sal's in goal. He's been fantastic, actually. Bought him for 2 million, was he? Or 2.5? 2 million. And he's up to 2.7 now, which has been good. And Robinson the same. Bought him for 3. He's up to 3.6. So they've really, really helped in terms of the budget and points as well, to be fair. Some unexpected points from Sal's last week, obviously, away at Liverpool. But yeah, just a 1 pointer this week, back to normal. Porro has been fantastic as he's in this format. I love owning him in this format. And Gvardiol has been a bit underwhelming so far. But when he had his early rise from 4.5 to 4.8, I didn't want him to get away from me. So I got him in kind of nice. Yeah. I'm really happy with him. But I do think he may be dispensable potentially now that like Stones is back and things. We'll see about that. Saka, he's going. No, I learned that lesson really harshly last year, taking out Saka, just trying to be a bit clever. Just don't do it. He's just an animal in this format. Saka he scores points all the time. He scored 6 points yesterday just in the first half against the best team in the league. Eze, I just looked, and he's the second highest point scorer so far in the game, I think. Just holding him. He's just a beast in this format. I've got Rodgers. Nice to see him return. And I bought in James Maddison, which a pretty inspired move, but obviously brought him in for Luis Diaz. He scored the same amount of points, so bittersweet. But I say I've got a bit of a story there with that one. Brought in Rashford, just to see, all the commentary last week was about, how fantastic he was. He's on form. He's a streaky player. He's going to start every game, and he immediately gets benched. Absolutely bizarre. He's been crap all season. Oh, sorry, I'm not to say he's been crap. He probably hasn't performed to the best of his ability or his potential all season. But as soon as he does, they bench him for some reason. So a 1 pointer there. Haaland and Salah. You may notice my captain is on Haaland, and that is because I played. And I did play it before anyone says. I played my max cap on the weekend. And I confirmed it on my desktop 100%. clicked the confirm booster button. It shone up gold. And then when I looked at my phone after the deadline, it had disappeared, which I am incredibly angry about because the whole reason I did it, I thought it through a lot. I talked it through with Paul McNulty, my Fantasy Football Hub article, and I actually did it. And the reason I did it is because I thought Porro and Maddison, in particular, maybe even Rashford, had a really, really good chance of scoring well because they were both plum home fixtures on Thursday, whereas Haaland, Salah, Saka probably maybe only played once. Maybe Salah played a second game this year, but I thought great opportunity just to try and get a rogue captaincy. And because I did that, I didn't even move the captaincy off Haaland from last week because I just assumed the max cap would take. So at the moment, I've lost 6 points. But if Maddison kicks off on Thursday, if he plays and he scores well, I mean, Spurs are 2-11 to win on Thursday, so you'd expect them probably to win pretty comfortably. It could be a bit of a painful one, or if Salah plays in the week, because I would have captained Salah had I not played it. So a bit of a whinge there. But yeah, and I'm the first one always to say if someone says I did it but it didn't happen, I'm like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
mate.
that's the first thing you think, isn't it? Did they confirm it?
But I did, and I know I did. And the only reason I think it may not have come, it may not have gone through is because potentially I had it open on my phone and my desktop at the same time, and I confirmed it on my desktop, and it didn't somehow properly save or something. But I 100% did it. Like it turned gold. It showed like the one of the boosters of the 3 was now active. So yeah, pretty angry about that. But overall, can't moan start of the season. But I'm just annoyed because, as we all know, it's such a hard game when you're up against players like yourselves. There's all the similar names at the top of all the leaderboards, and I was managing to keep pace. And now I feel like, through no fault of my own, I could potentially end up 10, 20, 30 points behind when I think I actually made a pretty smart move. So a bit annoyed with that. But yeah, I got decisions to make this week about whether to bring Diaz back now, whether to go for Watkins, whether to bring in... I've got Robinson and Sells now, who are single week players. So whether to move on those, or someone like De Ligt, or Martinez or Nana, or someone like that. But overall, encouraging start of the season. I'm just really annoyed about this week, about the captaincy. But it is what it is. So yeah, that's my start.
Having won before, have you got anyone's details there for a strongly worded letter?
I think it's changed now. I think the guy who I was kind of conversing with before, I think he's left, which is annoying. But they can check events and stuff, but they're not going to do it, right, regardless. Because if they do it for one, you can imagine everybody be writing in, some with valid maybe and some with invalid claims. But I know it happened to a couple of people last year as well, who were absolutely insistent that it happened. So I'm pretty sore about it, but I'm not going to complain. I've still got the chip. I could use it another part of the season. I'm more annoyed that I kept captain on Haaland.
I was just going to say, well, hopefully when you do use the chip, it pays off. Maybe more fruitful than what this week could be.
Yeah, it's just the fact it was Maddison, and I don't know what his ownership is as well. He's what percent ownership is he? I can't see it. Like I can't see his ownership. Wherever it is, he's going to be lowly owned. And that's the thing. Is having that. If he kicks off again on Thursday, that massive. I remember with Paul McNulty last year, he was around 5K overall, and then he used his max cap, and it was the week the Kudus kicked off out of the blue, scored a ridiculous amount of points, and then he followed that up with his Park the Best and got like 250 points. Yeah, he ended up finishing in the top 50 overall because of those 2 weeks. They're like pretty season defining moves. But sorry, I'll stop whinging now.
Yeah, he's at 11%.
Madison's 11% owned, if you wanted to know.
Oh, he's higher than I thought. He's higher than I thought, but still kind of relative to all.
Yeah, changes live as well, doesn't it? So maybe people have put him in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there is that.
Yeah. No, it's decent enough start though. There's not much separating a lot of us really. I don't think it looks like. What do you think you're gonna? I know you're a Spurs fan, so how do you feel like you're gonna line up for that Carabao match?
I would guess that we want to just get off to a strong start. Kind of get the wins in the bag early on, and then rotate after is what I'm guessing. Haven't got much else to play for, so I would guess he'd play a strongish team, same as United, and get the wins in the bag, which is why get the wins in the carrier bag, which is why which is why I felt this week was a good opportunity to go for United and Spurs player. I think the latter. I think the later we go on, they may rotate a bit more. Obviously get injuries and stuff as well. So I'd like to think that Madison and Porro will both play in this one, and then maybe a couple more, and then start to rotate. Same as United, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Do you want to go up next, Tony?
Yeah, might as well while I'm here. Martinez just a 1. Robinson 2. Trent with a really nice haul of 14 points this week. It's good having him in. A little bit of a retribution after that 1-0 against Forest the week before, which was a little bit unexpected. But yeah, he's doing well. Vardio, 4. Did he have 2 shots on target? Unlucky with a couple of strikes.
It was a hell of a save right at the end off Raya. He pulled it. He pulled it from behind him, didn't he? It was an incredible save.
Yeah, it's unreal. Ben, he used to play for Rovers, didn't he?
Yeah, he used to play for Rovers.
Just a 4 for him. Diaz, I did call it in the WhatsApp. Said, if you're taking Diaz out, you're going to miss the haul this week. But Scott, you still took him out.
Yeah.
Nice 19 points there. Kulusevski could have been so much better. He's threatening to haul is the lad. Hopefully, he gets the game midweek and he can top that 4-pointer up. Saka, he just does what Saka does, 6 points. Like Fergie touched on, it's nice to have a bit of return from Rodgers.
Finally.
Again, another one who threatens. How he's not scored, I do not know. He's very, very tidy player. He's going to be someone who's decent in this game, definitely. A good price. 9 points from Rodgers, which is massive improvement. Haaland 13. Salah captained, double to 20. Hoping he gets that West Ham game. Let's see. And my punt for the week was bringing in Duran, saying that hopefully he got 20 minutes against Wolves, which he managed to get himself a goal at the end. And I am just hoping he plays against Wickham 90 minutes.
He can't
Surely.
Massive.
Surely he gets it. And if he does, I hope he does the business for me. Nice little 1-week punt, hopefully. So better week this week. I am feeling better about it after this week. 102 points, up to 541. Nice green arrows on the screen rather than the reds that I've been seeing after Haaland stinging me the last couple of weeks.
Is that 2 weeks without Haaland as captain?
Yeah, with 2 weeks, back to back with Salah. Obviously, Salah hitting the crossbar twice midweek last week weren't doing me any favours, but yeah, decent week this week. And I'm hoping Kulusevski and Duran do the business midweek.
Come to you, Ben.
Yeah. When you said 541 there, I rang a bell and I looked at my rank and I'm at 541st.
Wow.
So yeah, good week so far. 104 points. I brought in Kulusevski for Kamada, and I brought in Delict for Robinson. So I was humming and ahhing over who to take out of Irobanam or Kamada. I was going to keep Kamada, but then looking at predicted lineups, Kamada was going to be benched and Irogbenam was going to start, and it ended up being the other way around. Irogbenam got benched and Kamada started, but yeah, it's 2 points difference. Not too fussed. Kamada got 4 points and Irogbenam came off the bench for 2. Kulusevski. I was looking at Brennan Johnson, but with the price difference, I was thinking, is it $500,000? I thought I could save that money for future transfers, so I've gone for Kulusevski. 4 points, not too bad for 2.7 million. And Delict, I did not expect 11 points, but yeah, really happy with that. And I was looking at his stats. He averages like a goal every 5 games over his career, so he's always attacking.
Really dangerous.
Really dangerous. So I'm thinking he could be a good player to bring in. I'm surprised how many shots. How many shots did he have in the last game? 3. 3 shots on target.
3, yeah.
It
feels like with Casemiro, he always gets a lot of like headed sort of chances when he scores the odd one, but he misses a lot, and it feels like De Ligt has taken on that role maybe. So I think he can. I think the fact he's a defender, I think he's a really, really good option. Really do.
Yeah. And very obviously we've got the price rise on him as well, 0.3. Yes, there wasn't, and this is the week to bring in a few cheapies. I thought, because obviously you've got the Europa League, no Champions League this week, and a bit of Carabao Cup rotation. So it's got rid of me single game week players. So I'm up to 9 double game week players now. Martinez, 3 points. Trent got an assist, 14 points. Porro, 5. Saka, 6. Eze with 7 points. It's going to be hard taking him out. I've enjoyed having him in my team, but he is a single game week player, so I might have to look at that. Diaz, 19 points. I'm so glad I kept him. He done really well. I was out on Saturday on a stag do, and the user all texting going, he scored again. I can't believe it. So I was like, buzzing. Robenham's going to go. Salah captain, 20 points. Happy with that. Obviously got another game, and Haaland 13, which was a good score. So really good so far. 604 points.
That seems like it's going to be okay with the captaincy, because I think the latest news that just come out just before we came on was that Haaland's going to be given that compassionate time off this week now. For his mate's funeral, whatever it was.
Well, so he won't play Watford?
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure he just got ruled out of Watford about 10 minutes before we came on.
Yeah, I don't think he...
Sorry, Fergie.
No, I didn't expect him to. There was like 48 hours, wasn't there? And he played the full 90, and all the, intensity and energy he would have got. I didn't expect anything from him, which is why I wouldn't have put the captaincy on him. So I don't know if Salah get minutes this week. I think I listened to you last week, and I think you all seemed pretty certain he was gonna play. Do you still feel that, or?
I didn't think that either would play, personally. Okay. I just thought if there was going to be one, I thought it may be Salah, but I didn't think either will play, really. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think the better punt on someone playing was definitely Salah, just because they've got Premier League opposition and they know it's going to be a tougher game. Yeah. It's one of them. How does Slot want to play it? Is he going to go strong and just try and win the game and go far in every single trophy, or is he gonna categorize them, and is he gonna just prioritize other ones over the Carabao? That's the danger. But
I think Klopp historically played weaker teams in these sorts of competitions in the earlier on the FA Cup, didn't he?
Yeah,
proper kids teams like so. It'd be interesting to see who he does. I hope to God this week they play, because I haven't got Salah captain or Diaz. So I hope it's a good, or Trent.
Yeah. If he goes full strength,
if he goes full strength, you could have 50 points on me in like just 3
Oh.
players. That was
Yeah.
It's a painful one.
I can't see full strength, but I definitely don't see him weaken it like Klopp did. Whether Chiesa comes in for his first start, obviously he's got I know Nunes played, but he's got Gakpo, Jota. He's got quite a lot of options, hasn't he?
Curtis Jones
Jones to come in middle.
He's already been
Kwanzaa.
willing to sort of swap Robertson in the Champions League, hasn't he? He probably would.
Conor Bradley at right back.
Simicast, Bradley, Kelleher's will play regardless, I'm guessing.
Yeah, so I don't think you're under too much threat there, Fergie, really. It's just if they are 1-0 down in its last half hour, you could probably see some of them big hitters come off bench.
Yep, we agree.
And then, my one, 99 points so far for the week. Like I said, took Diaz out, despite messaging these two, saying, "And are you considering it?" And
I think we both said no, didn't we, Ben?
No. Both of you said no. He's due a haul this week.
So Scott thought, I'm just going rogue.
I said, "What these two know?" I replaced Robinson for Porro this week, trying to look towards getting those European players for game week 6, really, or before then. Then I swapped Diaz for Kulusevski, which net is not a great move, really, but I've got like 1.4 in the bank, and I was just trying to map out my team, really, to get to for game week 6. So sells just the 1 point, but like Fergie said, he's gained quite a lot of budget so far. Probably going to go soon. Rico Lewis, didn't think he'd get this game anyway, but hope he gets Watford. Vardiol 4, Porro 5, Eze 7, Saka 6, the same as you guys. Maddison I've had since the beginning. I've been pleased with him, to be fair. Rogers 9, Kulusevski 4, Haaland 13, and Salah 20. I won't go into many of them because I think you've all covered pretty much the same pool of players, really. But Son, I decided to play a Son 12th man, which is quite unlike me. I normally, I feel like I normally play it fairly safe. But you know when you just get a feeling that I liked it, and then I just thought I'm just gonna punt it. 12th man hasn't gone very well for me last season or in the Euros, so I thought it doesn't really feel like a really high value chip. I might as well just go with my gut on this one. I didn't expect quite 11 points from Brentford. I thought this might be the tough game, and then I was hoping for something against Karabag. Fingers crossed. But 11 points. Happy with that. But in general, at the moment, that 12th man has probably just helped me keep pace with everyone else with taking Diaz out. But hopefully something in midweek. What do you think of quadruple Spurs, Fergie? As an Arsenal fan.
If they go full strength, you could and they do well, you could have a hell of a week.
Got to get one of them, haven't I?
Yeah, I think so. Watch a Solanke hat trick with a Papu Sarr set of assists. I thought it was going that way because it was a Solanke goal and a Johnson goal, wasn't it? It was. I think if they go reasonably full strength, but you got no reason not to. Yeah. Like I say, I always look at the odds when I look at the European games. I'm not really sure how much these teams have improved or not. But Spurs are 2-11, which is pretty hefty. That's like, Man City home to Southampton sort of levels. So I think you can expect a 3-0 or something. If they go reasonably strong. So you'd hope for some points. It's interesting on the boosters about it's. Always kind of really, really torn between kind of saving them more towards the end of the season when there's more to play for and things, and you're a bit clear on your mini leagues about where you need your rise and stuff. But there does seem to be a lot more opportunity for heavy scoring than in the early rounds of the European Cup. Everyone's still fresh and stuff. It's a real tight thing because I do think it affects the momentum of your whole team, and it kind of affects your transfers as well. Because if you have a really bad week, like it looks like I'm going to have this year, that have this week now, it could definitely impact how I make my transfers next week, week after. If I feel like I'm chasing and I'm behind, I may make a reactionary move like get Diaz back.
Yeah.
Whereas probably a better move for my team long term is to get rid of my single week players.
Yeah.
So it is interesting, and and vice versa. If you have an amazing week now, Scott and everyone else, and you get 170 points and you halve your rank or whatever else, I do think it affects your decision making, don't it? So it is interesting how all the psychology behind it, I think.
I think the price change. We'll talk about price changes a lot in a bit, but one thing I sort of felt with him is that like I wouldn't want to bring Son in for a -2 price change. So I thought probably not many people would go there either. But yeah, we'll see.
And if Diaz wasn't going down 0.2 or whatever he did,
probably wouldn't have
I
sold
wouldn't
him.
have got rid of him. So it is crazy how impactful these things are, aren't they?
Yeah, that's like the Diaz. For me, the decision was Diaz or Eze out this week, and we thought that Eze was going to get a 0.3 rise, and Diaz might go down 0.2, and I was like, oh, don't want to let that 0.3 go.
It's $500,000 in budget. How important is that budget compared to points? It's a funny.
But then you gain it back
Thing,
if you kept Diaz now, don't you? So yeah. We'll go on to these our listener questions. We're live with our Patreon members, so I'm going to just shout out a few. We've got Miss Noopy, David F, Novels, Ian Curry, Connor, Philip Harrison, Gary Walker, Nathan Wisby, Owen Higgins, Graham, Mr. H, James Fricker, who actually masterminded Marcus Trashford, so he's a little bit gutted that we left that one out. You've got to look after people, I think. Any others? Ben Coles, and that's it. But yeah, cheers, guys. Let's go to the questions then. So, starting off with thoughts on Luis Diaz out this week, even though he had a great week. Seems like he'll only be getting one start a week, and I think I'd rather someone like Solanke long term if Solanke starts in Europa. This is from Connor Conk. I'll take it first, Fergie.
Like I say, I think if we're all fickle and reactionary, and he didn't have a good week last week, so like 50% of us on here taking him out, and now he's had an incredible week. It's like, we need to get him back, but we can't just keep going off last week's scores all the time, can we? I do think it's a good point that Conker's made, because I thought because he was rested, in the Champions League, and he's only been playing 65 minutes in the Premier League, I thought he was a minute's risk, and for $5 million, I want more than that. I want more than 90 minutes out of 180 every week. So I think the question is whether you think that he's not going to score 2 goals in 65 minutes every week, is he? It's a bit of a one. I think he was even brought off early again on the weekend, like 65, 70 minutes. So I think the question is whether we think under Slot he's just in a rich vein of form, and he's playing really well, and he's everything he's scoring everything he's touching is going in, or whether he really is under Slot, the kind of almost the new sort of Salah on the left hand side, and whether he can do it. So I think at the moment, again, it's combined with the rises, right? If he'd have only scored 6 or 7 points or whatever, and he wasn't going to get a 0.3 rise, I don't think I'd be bringing him in. But when you go off the back of the scary points and the 0.3 rise you're going to get now again, it's like so I think on balance, and the fact that Liverpool are playing away a fair bit now over the next few weeks, and after their away run, their fixtures do toughen up a bit as well. I'm going to leave him. I think I'd hold him if I had him, obviously, but I think I might leave him now with my sensible head on. I think these other options are going to play a lot more minutes.
Yeah, I think they have had a nice run of fixtures, haven't they, Liverpool? Obviously set to toughen up, but he's explosive. He's explosive, and even like you say, a 30-minute game for him. He can get tackles, performance marks. He can explode in a short period of time. So I think if you've got him, it's definite hold. I won't be.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Absolutely no chance you'd be looking at getting rid or. But I do get what Conk's saying about the minutes, and obviously we try because all we bleat on about is maximising fixtures, maximising minutes when your players are there. So someone like Solanke, who, I mean, at this moment in time, you think he's going to start each and every game. Does that mean he's got a higher ceiling? Well, yeah, it should do. But where like you say, everything Luis Diaz is touching at minute is gold. He's had some nice hauls already. Yeah, it's a tough one. I like Solanke though. I like Solanke as an option, but gun to head, I'd go Luis Diaz.
I've been thinking about this and like, is Diaz going to be the new Mahrez, where he just, he's going to miss a few games, play 60 minutes here, 70 minutes there. But when he does play, he's playing for one of the best teams in the country. They're going to get lots of chances. So he's still going to get the attacking returns. At the moment, that looks like what's happening. But yeah, I won't be going nowhere at my team at the moment. I'm happy with the next week's fixtures as well.
Yeah.
Wolves away, Bologna at home. So yeah, I mean, you can bring him in for a price rise as well. But yeah, I can't look past him at the minute. I'm really enjoying having him in my team, and he looks really dangerous. So yeah, he's be sticking in my team for now.
Yeah, I'm similar to Fergie. I think once you've sold, you kind of don't want to go back, do you?
Yeah.
I just looked at it like if he was going to get 60-30 or 70-20, are you just getting one game? Obviously, like you said, the comparison to Mahrez is like the best one, isn't it? He's one where you had to sort of hold. I feel like it takes a certain type of mentality that I just don't have to be able to hold through the blanks each week. Like I'd much rather be able to have someone that would maybe even just get 5 each week.
Yeah.
Than blank 15 or But yeah, he's undoubtedly a great player. But yeah, I probably won't be going back there now. I think I might be able to find someone around the price that I'll be happier with. Then we had Wadey asking, so out of these point scoring monsters, Gabriel, Trent, Porro, and Vardiol, which two are the ones to be on for the foreseeable, and why? Who's up?
I don't think Vardiol's in the same league as the other three. Personally, I don't think he's going to get the minutes. He hasn't really been scoring. He's had a couple of nice hauls, but not the levels of the others. I think
yesterday, like with Vardiol, was the first time we've actually seen him with Walker on playing that position of last season, where he is the higher advanced player. But he's been more of a third centre back, hasn't he, all season, which probably hasn't helped.
I just can't see him playing all the games. It's one of those where when he's on the team sheets, you have a bit of a sigh of relief. Whereas with someone like Gabriel, he's in every single week, and that's it, sort of thing. I think I hate that when he was dropped or rested last week, wasn't he, in the league because the Champions League game midweek, and it's just so frustrating. I know he came on half time, but yeah, I just think it's going to be a lot of rotation. All the defenders are coming back from injury, apart from Ake maybe, but they've still got 6 top class defenders. Walker's now looking to get back in the team. Started yesterday out of the blue, I think, as well, which shifts things around. Stones is back. Just think it's kind of. I suppose the only blessing potentially, I suppose, is Rodri's out now. So whether they'll move Stones or Lewis potentially a bit further forward, which relieves a spot, but. Saying that, their fixtures are great looking from now on, but I still think Trent and Gabriel are probably the the most solid of the two. Porro is great, but they just don't keep clean sheets.
Yeah.
And we'll get some clues on Thursday around, whether he'll play. But Spurs' next few games: away to United, away to Brighton, West Ham, Palace, and Villa. I can't keep them seeing any clean sheets in any of those games.
Yeah.
So.
So when you look at them fixtures, you can see goals. You just can't see clean sheets.
You could see goals for and against, can't you? And then after that, they may keep clean sheets in the Europa, but are they going to play? I don't know if they're going to play or not. I would guess yes, but I don't know, do you?
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. Gabriel and Trent. Obviously, Gabriel, the highest scoring defender on game at the minute, with 52 points. Trent, second highest scorer on 51 points. I think they are the two to go for, but they are also the two most expensive. Porro and Vardiol, obviously, probably in the same price bracket, 4.5, about 4 points something. Yeah. So it's how's your budget kind of thing. But yeah, Gabriel and Trent for me.
Yeah, if there was no value in it, it'd definitely be Trent and Gabriel, but it's going to be hard to get them two in when they're both nearly 6 million now.
Yeah.
Porro has actually got less points than Vardiol, only 2 points less, but it's like Porro's. You'd think Porro would have a lot more points than Vardiol, but because Man City are a stronger defensive team, I suppose they're getting the clean sheets, aren't they? So, but yeah, I like all the options, but it's like I said, it's the getting them in together. Trent and Gabriel at the moment, with Arsenal's fixtures changing as well, there should be a lot of clean sheets there, and hopefully a couple of goals. I was looking at the shots on target in that, and Gabriel's only had 2 shots on target, and he scored both of them.
I'll tell you what, they keep putting corners in like that one against City, and just having Kyle Walker.
Can you?
No, you can't. I mean, Kyle Walker must have been kicking himself with that mark. Atrocious. He just let him go, but yeah,
he made himself like a right tit, didn't he, with all the tapping and all this as well.
Yeah.
The thing is, you saw Doku mark him on the first one, and you thought this is not going well, and he got on the end of it, put it wide or put it over, and then so when you saw Walker with him, you thought, oh, okay, they've cottoned on. You just can't stop him when someone's like running forward you at that pace.
It's like
and that's why I think you've got to put one of your bigger, stronger centre halves on him. Like it's all right. I think there was zonal marking, weren't with the centre halves, and then obviously putting people on to just track the runners kind of thing. But you've got to put somebody a bit bigger, somebody who bully him a little bit. You can't let him just charge him like that. Like Walker was just nowhere to be seen. Crap marking.
I'm currently on Vardiol and Porro. I'm happy to keep Porro just as long as he starts in Europe. I am reluctant to take City out with this run. But yeah, I would agree with you guys. If you could start again and just plonk any in your team, it probably would be Trent and Gabriel at the moment. But looking at probably trying to get three. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to probably look at adding. I'm probably going to keep Vardiol and Porro, but look to get, I don't know, one Arsenal or Trent in there.
Do you think you'd have to sacrifice Porro or Vardiol to get to Trent?
I wouldn't at the minute, just 'cause I've got the money in the bank left over, but it would be a decision between like a Foden coming in or spending it at the back, which is a hard choice in itself, isn't it? But yeah, I agree with you, lads.
I think that's the thing at the moment. We're quite lucky that Foden and De Bruyne are not options, but as soon as they are options, it's going to be so hard because like Haaland, Salah, and Saka, for me at the moment anyway, you can't let him go. And then if you've got a premium defender, so I mean we're lucky really. We've got like Rodgers and maybe Onana, and but other than that, there's no cheap defenders under sort of 3 million, which are options at the moment, are they really? Or keepers who are playing in Europe and stuff. So it's as soon as Foden and De Bruyne become up, like Foden last year, wasn't he the highest scoring player or second?
Right.
It's going to be really tough.
There'll be a scramble, won't he? If he
starts
starts Watford and does well, there'll be
bangs a couple of goals in.
That's it then, isn't it? We're all scrapping the plans for Gabriel or one of the fences. Chances of, crystal ball this is, but chances of Palmer and Haaland playing midweek, yes or no? Do they start? But Tony?
Well, we know Haaland's
Well,
not.
we know Haaland, yeah, so let's rule him out.
He got hooked early, didn't he? He didn't look happy. He did not look happy either. I'm watching his face. You're like, me? Are you sure? They must have got this wrong. They must have got it wrong. No, you get off.
I reckon he's going to play.
I think he's going to play now. Yeah. Just off the back of that, obviously, if he'd have played the 90 at the weekend, I'd say no. But I think if he's come off early, I think Palmer's playing against Barrow, innit?
Yeah. Top of League Two, though. No mugs.
Wow. So how are you supposed to even call that though? So like, if we think if he went on to play 90 and they wasn't so far ahead, he could have been benched. Yes.
Yeah. You just don't know, do you?
Got to get lucky sometimes, I guess.
Yeah. Sometimes you just the dice rolls in your favour, doesn't it?
I still don't think he'll play. I know he did come off early, but I just think it'll be bonkers. Like he's getting kicked non-stop in these Premier League matches. Like if you're not going to list him in your Europa Conference squad, like, and then you put him out against Barrow, I think you're asking for trouble, really.
Yeah. Maresca knows it. He's the most important player, so he 3-0 up. Just take him off, rest him. Brighton next week, tough match. So yeah, I don't think he'll play Barrow. If he does, I'll be surprised.
And scared. 50-odd% ownership? 50% ownership still.
Yeah, I brought him in for the Barrow double game week and then they moved it back a week, didn't they? So yeah, but when we knew he went in the Europa Conference squad, just sold him.
Next one from Grommers. Rank these in order that you like them, I guess. Midfielders under 4 million for the upcoming game weeks. Brennan Johnson, Garnacho, Savinho, Ramsey, Rodgers.
Yeah, I'd go Rodgers because of the value, 2.8 million. Good enabler, playing for a Champions League team, playing really high up, and I think it's going to come. The goals and the assists are going to come. Obviously, got 2 assists this week, but then the rest are a bit of a rotation risk, aren't they? Savinho I like a lot, but obviously he could miss the up game. He gets compared to Mahrez as well, doesn't he? He's wearing the old 26 shirt as well.
The way he plays as well, very like him.
Yeah, I really like him, and he does well on the bonus. Garnacho is doing really well this year, but he isn't starting a lot of matches, is he? So, yeah, I'd probably go Garnacho before Johnson. Johnson is 3.3 million. It's a decent price, but he's not very consistent. Missing a lot of chances. He had 6 shots at the weekend though, and then Ramsey is just. I think Ramsey just someone who just come in because he had injuries, didn't they? So he's just come in the side, and he's 3.7 million. So you've got to go Rodgers over Ramsey and use that extra 0.9 somewhere else.
I do think he's a quality player, Ramsey, but just the price just makes it stand out.
If he was like 2.5, you'd be like, yeah.
What about you, Fergie? What are you saying?
In terms of those 5, definitely, I think Rodgers is the best. Then Johnson, and then the other 3, I'm not sure. There is a player who's not on this list. Do you think the top scoring player for Aston Villa is so far this season in the whole game without looking?
Tielemans
is on 49 points and he's 3.7 million. He'll be rising this week. I think he is a good
class.
He's Watkins is on 46, Onana's on 39. 49. He got his last few scores have been, so he scored 11 on the weekend against Wolves, 15 midweek against Young Boys, 5, 3, 5, 10. He's going to rise this week, so he might be my transfer in this week, I think. Last average points 8.2, average last 3 10.3. I'd probably put him above all those. Personally,
Might even get penalties, eh?
But you know what? I'm not sure if I had a dream. I was convinced he had a penalty the other week. And I must have dreamt it because I've mentioned it a couple of times on different podcasts, and people have said, "No, we haven't." And I was like,
No,
"Yeah,
we've been waiting. We've been waiting
so
for it.
Mad. But yeah,
Manifesting.
I think he's a great option. I think he's a really good option, Tielemans.
Didn't you say that in the penalty shootout he took the first one, Scott?
Yeah, back when they played, was it Lille or someone? One of the knockout ones last season. I think he took pen 1, and who's Douglas Luiz? Was
Douglas Luiz,
the main guy? He took pen 5. So maybe that was something to. Yeah, maybe that was some sort of priority. Maybe, but yeah, just guessing really.
He was second choice penalty taker behind Vardy at Leicester as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's a class move. It's one we keep talking about, don't we? But none of us have gone there yet. But
Tielemans.
it makes sense, doesn't it?
He's what you mentioned, Scott, the kind of player you want, where he's solid. You get the bonus points, chances created, tackles, all this kind of stuff. So when he does get the attack in return, he really does get the big points then. So he's the kind of player I like.
Yeah, he won't make me lose my head compared to Diaz.
No, exactly. and he's still cheap, 3.7. He'll probably go up this week as well.
Yeah.
Any big debates on that order? Or should we just go Tielemans? Move on.
Tielemans, you went even on there.
Yeah. I go Rodgers from that list, though. I think he's been really unlucky so far. I think he's got the potential to score really well, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Rod. I've got Rodgers. I like Garnacho. The fact he started this one, he was unlucky as well, didn't he? He had a couple of shots on target, hit the bar. I do think he'll have a good season.
Yeah.
Oh, next question. Thoughts on Tielemans? We had enough there. Move it on.
Yeah.
Is it crazy to spend 5 million plus on a keeper, i.e. Raya?
Yes.
I think so too.
Tell us why.
Just the ceiling's so small, isn't it? Like they might score well every now and again, but he's not getting 9 saves every game, is he?
Yeah, you've nailed literally what I put then. The ceiling is low. He might keep clean sheets consistently, but like he got that pen save against Atalanta, kept the clean sheet, but then I think it was 11 points. Whereas 5 million, that could be Son, and you could get a hat trick. That's a Diaz. You could get 20 points. You're not going to get that from a keeper. I don't think so. Anyway, it might happen, but yeah, just give yourself.
I agree. I think as well. He's had the pen save, which is a real rarity, but the double saves he's pulled out from Watkins and then one on the weekend, midweek was it, or wherever. Like he's on top form, but I think the fact he's having to make double saves and make penalty saves proves that the defense is fallible as well. And I think just that level of scoring for a keeper is unsustainable. So yeah, I do agree with that.
Yeah, Aman's made 5 million already though with his transfers. He's a money ball man, so that's probably why he's thinking about getting the set and forget goalkeeper. But yeah, I think it's still too early to get Raya in with the amount of money he's got. I think Aman's on 55 million or something like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, keep doing what you're doing, get your money in, and then you can bring him in eventually.
I guess while we're on keepers, you're on Martinez, aren't you, Ben?
Yeah.
Already? I think Tony is. So then
me
and you are both on Sells, Fergie. Are you just thinking Martinez, or are you thinking maybe going elsewhere? I heard, didn't Paul mention he was interested in Raya on maybe your last pod?
He was. He went for a Nana last week, which is looking a really smart move because he he had him for 3.9. He's up to 4.2, and he's just got an 11-pointer again. So he's probably going to go up to 4.4, just out of reach again. But I think I don't know. You know, there's definitely been a trend of the last few seasons where there's not been many clean sheets, and keepers just haven't been scoring that well. So I do think the value of a keeper has potentially been inflated. I think the only thing with Onana is he does tend to play every game for United, no matter what competition they're in. He does, and even when they're not keeping clean sheets, he makes a lot of saves as well. So I do think Onana's good. I'm not really sure what I'm going to bring in, to be honest. But I do think it's time to get rid of Sells. And I think he started the season well. He's got a nice rise. He's got a few points, but I think it is time to move off. So I haven't got the list in front of me, but I'll probably be moving off to a mid-price European keeper. I think I might I think we'll get to see this week now who plays as well. Is Onana definitely going to play, which I'm sure he will. Is Vicario definitely going to play? But yeah, I think it's time to sell.
Nice bit of juggling from him, wasn't it? A nice bit of juggling from Vicario.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was a bit.
He's a
mind you, not
keeper.
as bad as Sells. Mine. Did you see Sells against where he pulled it down, went through his legs, and it hit his back of his arm and kept it out
back
last
on it.
week. Unbelievable. So
that's the luck that gets you the few points on it.
Exactly.
While we're on goalkeepers, Scott, should we go to DT Phillips question 2?
Oh yeah, that makes sense. So if Alisson's out injured, would you be moving to Kelleher? What's he, 2 million at the moment?
100%. If he's out for more than a couple of weeks,
just need some clarity on the time frame, don't you?
Yeah, he's on Premier Injuries. He's estimated to be back on next game, the weekend. So
It's not enough, is it?
yeah, it's not enough. I've noticed that Alisson's been injured quite a lot recently. So I had a look on Transfer Market, and he missed 18 games last year with 3 different injuries.
Wow.
In 2021 season, he missed 10 games with 4 injuries. I know it's a few years gap there. And then 1920 in the first season at Liverpool, he missed 15 games with injuries. So he's got a history of missing quite a lot of games. But obviously, yeah, he's probably the best goalkeeper in the league. One of them anyway. But yeah, go on.
It was him. I'm pretty sure it was him. The other day, he was saying it's this schedule is coming too thick and fast, and a few people were like, "What do you mean you're a keeper? You're a keeper."
He's a keeper for a top team as well, so he doesn't have to do a lot, does he?
Maybe he's making a point there.
I think if Kelly was out until the break, I'd be tempted to bring him in because he's going to rise this week probably, and then it allows me and you, Scott, for example, we can go down from 2.7 Sells to 2 million Kelleher, even get the 4 games out of him. It can allow us to get to maybe Trent, for example, and then kind of leave the problem till after the break when someone else might get injured, like Saka or Salah, and then it makes everything a bit easier, don't it? But it's just if he's back next week, unless you plan on playing, like a risky player, if he plays or not, just to get a dead spot in defence in the keeper, doesn't really seem worth it.
It's just how much it sets you back on your long-term moves as well, isn't it? There could be a week where Foden looks like the guy, and then you're stuck. But you could leave him. But yeah.
I was very close to going to Muric the other week before I went to Martinez, and he was 1.7 million. He hadn't done anything at all, and then that week he got 11 points. The week I didn't bring him in, he's gone up to 2 million now. He played Southampton this week. It was a 1-1 draw, and but yeah, if I was thinking if I bring Muric in, then I could bring in like a Foden for this week for the Watford in the midweek because I thought I might start him in that one. But yeah, I didn't go that route in the end, and I wanted to get more European players in, so I didn't want to juggle a non-European goalkeeper again. I did that last season. I used a lot of transfers on goalkeepers last year.
Yeah.
It's different as well because if you remember last year, all the keepers went massively down in price, and they were all affordable. Do you remember, like Alisson, Edison went up like
really
3
low.
million or something silly, didn't he? So I was kind of waiting for that, which is why I never went for a premier keeper. But this year they're going the other way. So if Kelleher's playing on the weekend, if it's confirmed, Alisson's still a doubt, I think I'd be tempted to do the move anyway, just for the fact that of the position I'm in, it will release some money to be, maybe get in Trent or or whatever, and then kind of just give us a bit more information and deal with the problem after the break. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, the part 2 of his question was he's looking at taking sells out for Henderson at 2.4 or Kelleher. I didn't see the point of Henderson sideways. Did you?
No, I wouldn't do that at all.
You're going to get the rise, but the Carabao match is way down the line still, isn't it? And it's I don't see the point really. I'd just keep sells if you were going to. Aman's part 3. This is a long one. So how do you see building team value for the future, as double game week players might not increase as much as single game players when the doublers have points averaged over 2 games? Is bringing 2 risers a bad idea, or should more emphasis be placed on a player with good fixtures, even though they're likely to fall when you bring them in?
You want the best of both, don't you? You want good players who've had a good week and they've got good fixtures coming up. You want, ideally, I mean, this week for me, I couldn't get. I probably could if I went for Brennan Johnson. If I went for him, I would have got a little bit of a rise, but I went for Kulusevski because I knew I've got $500,000 in the bank guaranteed, and I went for Delic, got a points rise, decent fixtures this week. Points rise, price rise. So yeah, you've got to try and get the fixtures and the points, if you know what I mean, and double game week players ideally.
Yes, if you can get both, it's perfect, isn't it? It still doesn't sit quite right with me. Ignoring some really, like, if a really good fixture comes up and there is a drop, there is going to come a point where you just have to do it sometimes, I think.
Yeah.
It's just this early on, we feel like we need to get the budget, don't we? What do you think on it? We've answered it a few times this season, but it's hard. There's no definitive answer, is there, to points versus budget building?
It's when I suppose it's when I was talking with Paul McNulty earlier on Nip and a Half, and I think you get to a point in the second half of the season where you can more or less afford who you want, because you get a couple of neighbours like Rodgers, for example, looks like he's just going to be an absolute steal. So he's banging, and there will be probably one who emerges. Could be Delit, could be someone like that, the 3 million sort of player. Could be Duran if Watkins gets injured and Duran comes in. It could be Rashford. And then you can normally afford almost who you want. But it comes a point where the budget building alone becomes a bit of it's where you draw the line on how much money do you want against what you're compromising on points. So it's almost like at the moment I don't think we've got enough money because we can't afford everyone. We can't afford Trent, Gabriel, Saka, Foden, Haaland, Salah, and Watkins, for example. We can't get to them. So the budget builder is still really important. But I think there becomes a point of time where even if Rodgers got injured, there'll be someone else and things. So I think at the moment, it's obvious in hindsight, taking out Diaz and bringing in, well, Maddison actually, I think he dropped in price. So he nearly dropped in price and he was level. If you can get 0.5 swings at this point of the season, I still think it's worth it, regardless of points. But though they will dry up soon as well, because obviously the more expensive players get, the harder it is for them to rise as well.
Yeah.
So I think the volatility this early does lend itself to trying to really attack them. But Saka now, he's gonna. Well, especially Haaland and Salah, they're not going to score. As soon as they only get a goal or only get an assist, they're going to either stay or drop, aren't they? So it's just a balance, as Ben said. I know it's impossible to get. Well, it's not impossible, but to get all three. Like I'd say that Tielemans is a really good example this week of someone who's potentially he's going to get the rise. He's in really good form. They've got the fixtures. He's going to play. Could be on penalties.
Yeah.
De Ligt may be another one who could fall into that category as well. But yeah, there's not many every week who fall into those. So when they do arrive, I think take advantage. And in terms of Eze, Eze's an anomaly, I think, because he's probably the only single game week player who just scores 6 or 7 points every week. I say that he scored 24 points last week, didn't he, or whatever it was. He's a bit of an anomaly. I'd say apart from him, I wouldn't hold any single game players. Personally,
that's the weird thing with him as well. Like, I've got 7 this week from Eze, and I thought that's a little bit disappointing.
Exactly.
He's that good.
Yeah, exactly. This is it. Won it 24 last week or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Crazy numbers he gets. And he keeps going up in price. He's 5 million. So we got 7 this week. 7, 17 and 7. That's a 24. 10, 14, 4, 5 and 5. Crazy.
Yeah. I don't think I've got much to add to that, really. It's just trying to find the balance. But I don't think you feel like you've got enough money. Well, until there's someone you just can't get. There's going to be a week where you're like, oh crap, and that's when you might think, I'm going to carry on building. Maybe.
I think there'll always be an injury though to a player at some point. Like Haaland missed all of Christmas, didn't he, last year? And then Salah went off to AFCON. Was that straight after Haaland was back from injury? There's always something going on normally, like normally an injury where you don't need everyone. I wonder if this season is different. It is at the moment. It's hard at the moment, but there's always something which means you can afford stuff.
Could you see yourself bringing in a player if they were? I mean, a 0.1 doesn't seem too bad, but if a fixture was that good or a fixture week was that good, would you take a minus like 0.2 for it? So say Foden just has a sub appearance against Watford again, and then he's going down again. Would you bring Foden in ahead of this double?
If I knew he was going to play, 75, 80 in both, I would. But I think in Foden's example, I don't think he's going to.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about an example of taking a price drop, like Maddison this week, for example, I think we both knew he was going down in price.
Yeah, I was so willing to keep him just for the fixture.
But yeah, right. Yeah, well, I brought him in for the 0.1 less because I thought he'd play 80 or 90 in both.
Yeah.
So for me, it's all about the minutes as well, and I thought he'd play it in both. So.
Yeah, that's a good comparison, really, isn't it? Because with Diaz and Maddison both due to go down 0.2, but it never crossed my mind to take Maddison out. Compared.
You had Maddison the previous week.
Yeah, since the start. Yeah.
Oh right, I didn't realize. Sorry, Scott. Yeah, well, I brought him in this week, even though he was going down.
Yeah.
Because I just thought he was gonna have a really good week. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, I forgot you didn't. I forgot you brought him in. I thought you had him already.
Yeah, no, I brought him for Diaz.
Last one from my man. Good fixtures ahead for City and Arsenal. Is it time to increase the City and Arsenal assets, or are Haaland and Saka enough for you guys?
Yeah, it's definitely a good time to bring them in, but I'm not too sure who I'd bring in. I mean, I'd love to have Gabriel, but that's a very expensive player to bring in. I mean, I've had a little play around. I can't get to him. I'm thinking of getting Rodgers as one of my enablers in midfield, but I still can't afford Gabriel. So, yeah, Calafiori is very cheap, isn't he? 3.1, but you just don't know what they're going to do. Ben White go back to right back, Timber could go back to left back, and then he's probably back out, but he might play one game a week for 3 million. It's not too, but 3.1, it's not too bad. yeah, Savinho's decent price, but yeah, I'm not too sure who I'd bring in. Foden's definitely on the radar, but that fixture, Slovan Bratislava, they got battered by Celtic, didn't they, in the last round?
That would batter them, which is why I'm looking at Foden. Like,
yeah, it's going to be interesting.
The thing is, if you jump on Foden early like that, and he gets some real points, and you're getting the rise out of him, all of a sudden you're a step ahead of the opposite. They'll all be bringing in the week after, won't they? So that's the thing. I think the only other standout sort of player maybe is Havertz. He's 4.9. Arsenal have got really good fixtures.
he's a great centre half, isn't he?
Yeah, but there's not many players for either City or Arsenal really who, other than the ones out, are kind of getting out of reach, like Gabriel and Saliba and Raya, who or who are injured, like De Bruyne or Foden or whatever, who are kind of nailed. Havertz is nailed, and he's going to play. But I can't really see anyone else who would be a really, really good option at the moment. Timber, if he, it looks like he's been playing really well. 4 million is probably still cheap for him, I would say. But no, again, it's one of those where is he going to start every game? Probably not. It's interesting with Gabriel though, because Caliafori kind of played that left centre back as well, didn't he? So it would be interesting to see if Gabriel gets a rest every now and then. I don't know. It's going to be. Yeah, it's just. I can't imagine we're
far off. I can't imagine we're far off like the City scenario with our backline once everyone's fit and Calafiori and Timber have been playing plenty of games. I do feel like we could have that unpredictability, but
yeah,
that is the question. I feel like you need to have more to take advantage of the fixtures. You have to have more than Haaland and Saka just because they're so highly owned, don't you? But that's the question. Who?
It's like a Doku, isn't it? He's either not playing or he can get you 25 points.
Yeah,
you just don't know who to go for. I don't think there's going to be many players who play twice, and when they do, you think, "Oh, Lewis has played twice this week. I'll get him in," and he'll be dropped on the Saturday. So it's just really tough.
I might be tempted just for this these fixtures to maybe try and do. I mean, I've got the money there to do. I had Foden. I had the money to go Eze to Foden and Lewis to Timber. I thought, but then I thought Eze was going to get the 0.3 and he got the 0.2. So now I'm exactly 0.1 out of being able to do it. So I'd have to lose maybe Vardio instead for a Timber. I think that sort of does take advantage of it a little bit. It's just whether you want to spend the money there.
Foden's still 6 million. Wow.
I know, yeah.
Not sure because he's changed his system, haven't he, Pep, this year as well, whether he'll be kind of as effective as last year. I mean, surely to goodness he must be fit. He's been on the bench, haven't he, like every game. It's not like he's been injured.
Is he just doing this thing where he sort of leaves people to peak later, or I don't know.
Maybe.
If people can't afford him this week, they could do the 12th man gamble on it.
That's a big gamble. But one, as you say, if it pays off, no one's going to own him, are they? So it could be a massive.
It's just it's the minutes that the gamble. We're pretty sure that if he gets the 90s, it's fine, isn't it? But it's just whether he's.
I can't see him getting 90s. I can't see him we haven't seen him once yet. Come on and massively influence a game. So it's going to be really thing for him to go in and dominate as he did last year. I just can't see it. He just hasn't been in the races as yet.
Do you have a best defender to replace Robinson for 3.9 to 4.3? This is for DT, Philip.
Delict?
Delete.
Delict is definitely up there, 3.2 million, and should be getting another rise. And Villa's got quite cheap defenders as well. But Concer's the most nailed, and he's 3.9 million. So he's just got a goal. Don't know if he'll play midweek. If you don't play midweek, you should get a rise anyway. But Torres is 3.3, but he's only got 18 points so far this season, so it's not really getting any bonus or anything like that.
I still like Rico Lewis at 3.6. I know he's not always going to start every game, but I think you mentioned it, Fergie. I think Rodri being out might end up with him playing more games again.
Yeah, good point.
Very attacking as well when he plays. He can, even if he doesn't play every game, he'd probably play 2/3 to 3/4, which will be enough, won't it?
Yeah. Well, it looked like Calafiori could be like that then, couldn't he, really? 3.1 could play, then miss the other team, but should go up in price as well.
I just don't. Well, I was going to say I don't know if he's got the attacking returns in him after he just smacked one in. But yeah, what do you think of Udogie at 3.4? I know he's not quite Porro level, but
no, not for me. I think you either need clean sheets or attacking potential, and he hasn't shown either yet this season, has he? So
that's fair.
I think there's other options.
I think there is a bit of choice there. Even Mazraoui, 3.9. If he carries on getting this stuff.
If he carries on. Is he just in for Shaw, do you think? Or if Shaw is so important to that team, isn't he, that when he's back, do you think he walks back into the team? I don't know.
They need to be careful with him, though, because it's the same story over and over again, isn't it, with these injuries? It's hard.
Mazraoui might switch to right back, innit? As he plays right back as well.
I think
Dalot drops out.
I think Dalot's got to be first choice, hasn't he? Our Man U patrons they'll tell us.
Yeah.
Timber or Calafiori? It's Timber for me at the minute.
Yeah, definitely.
Ben?
Yep. Obviously, Timber's been more nailed, but Calafiori is tempting at 3.1 million as an enabler.
Get them both in. Semi-block. Another question, Calafiori for the cheap entry to Arsenal at the price tag. Even if he plays one a week, would you take it at 3.1?
I'm tempted, because Arsenal are quite solid at the back. Well, they're probably the best defence in the league. So if he starts one game a week and you're getting clean sheets, it's nice 10-pointer or something like that every week. It's tempting.
I think White didn't play because I think he was a bit unwell. So I'm not sure whether it was forced, as in they didn't have any other option. I'm not saying he's not a good option going forward and he will play, but I don't think we'd be talking about Calafiori if White had started. Timber played left back.
I think that's what would have happened. Yeah. I think he said something, didn't he, along the lines of White wasn't going to play, but he came on, he'll run through a brick wall for you, sort of thing. He just played through it, but yeah, it feels a little bit worrying. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't get any start in a week, and then how disappointed would you be?
It's not for me. Yeah, I think I think he's going to be fantastic as soon as you get that sniff that he is going to play. But I haven't really had that yet. He's coming as a sub, and he only played because of illness yesterday. So I haven't quite got it yet. I think with Timber, that was his. He played back-to-back 90s, haven't he? And he played in Champions League last week. So you're really getting a sense that he's that sort of number one left back at the moment.
Yeah, started every single one apart from the first game of the season. No.
Yeah. He's the entry point, I think, into the Arsenal defence.
Yeah.
Personally, at 4 million, he's still reachable, isn't he?
That's the thing with clean sheets as well. Like, say you went early on, I know the different price points, but if you went early on a Foden, there could be a real big upside. But if you're early and you get it right on the Arsenal defender, the cheaper one, if everyone else has got the Timber or Gabriel or White, you're only really going to get a big benefit if they score or something, aren't they? Like, everyone will get the clean sheet.
Yeah.
So getting the cheaper one will save you a bit of budget, but it's not going to differentiate you a bit. Havertz, yay or nay? You mentioned you didn't mind it.
Yeah, I think as a third forward, I think with the fixtures they've got, he plays every single game. He started off really well. I know since the injury to Odegaard, they've kind of mixed things up a touch, but I do like Havertz. He scored 35 points, which I think for his price is reasonable. They've got really good attacking fixtures. So I quite like him. I prefer him in my team than someone like Rashford or maybe not Watkins, but Watkins is obviously more expensive. But I don't mind Havertz to attack these fixtures as a low ownership player with a potential big upside because he plays 90, don't he, as well? He's a 90-minute man.
Never comes off.
Exactly. So he's always there or thereabouts. I really like him. I think he's a really solid option.
Ben?
Yeah, I was playing around earlier and he was with the Rodgers move. Havertz is what I have left, 4.9 million. I could literally do that, all my budget on it. With those fixtures coming up, Leicester, PSG, Southampton all at home, and then Bournemouth away, Shakhtar at home, up until game week 9, and then they play Liverpool and possible Carabao Cup round 4, double game week. So yeah, really nice run of games. So definitely tempting to get him in.
I think if Rashford blanks this week in midweek, I think he'd be, not you get this question again. You wouldn't get a rise on Havertz unless he plays midweek and goes off. But getting slightly ahead of the curve on him, home to Leicester, Champions League midweek. If he scores a goal in both those games, people will be looking to get him in the week after because the fixtures just keep on going, don't they?
I'm just not quite there yet. I'm not seeing this fully sort of ticking along without Ødegaard yet.
Yeah.
It worries me a little bit. And he hasn't got like a penalty or anything to fall back on like you might get with some of the other guys. I'm not fully sold yet, but the fixtures are nice. We'll have to quick fire through some of these because we're going a while now. Tony had to drop off last minute. Just had a new baby on the way, so I think it might have been something baby related. So he's had to quickly jump off. But this question was for him. I'll just remind people that on our live stream Saturday morning, he said that if Rashford scored 20 Premier League goals, he'd pod in a United shirt. So that question was aimed at him here, but we'll have to save that one. Thoughts on Savinho? I think we've mentioned him a couple of times. But goal boost this week, any takers or just a wait?
I really thought, to be honest. What's the fixture looking like?
Man City's got Newcastle and Slovan Bratislava away. Sorry, Man City, yeah. Arsenal's got Leicester and PSG at home. Liverpool's got Wolves away, Bologna at home, Aston Villa, Ipswich away, Bayern Munich at home. Man United's got Tottenham at home, Porto away. Tottenham's got Man U away, Ferencváros away, and Chelsea's got Brighton at home and Ghent at home. They're the only teams that are doubling in game week 6. Eze's got Everton away. If you've still got Eze,
I've sort of held firm on. I want to build up a load of budget first before playing it. So I'm thinking quite far in the distance, but yeah, I don't feel I'm settled on a team yet that's got enough real true goal scorers.
I mean, if you've got a good team, I don't mind it. Obviously, I think this chip will be pretty good for the group stages, really, because you're going to be playing a lot of fodder. If you hold it, you probably can use it later on in a double game week in the Premier League or something. But you're playing against Premier League teams then, I suppose. So, yeah, I don't mind it, but I can understand where you're coming from because the more money you've got, the better players you can have in your team, aren't you? So it's one of them.
It's Chris. Chris Stone said it for this week, and then and Nobbles also put a question in saying about game week 8, which is City have got Wolves, Sparta, Arsenal have got Bournemouth, Shakhtar, Liverpool have got Chelsea, Leipzig, United, Brentford, Don't know if that's Fenerbahce or not.
United's
Villa.
got Fenerbahce, yeah.
Villa, Bologna, Bournemouth, both at home. Spurs, AZ, and Crystal Palace, and Chelsea. Is that Panathinaikos? I don't know.
Yeah.
And Liverpool.
Yeah, much of a muchness fixture wise. I take your
Yeah.
point though, Sky. It's like I've got, that plays like Eze, Tielemans and stuff because they're like, the ghost points that they do well on the underlying bonus rather than the actual, the goal scoring themselves.
You want pure
so like
goals,
Madison is probably Madison is probably a placeholder until someone like Foden comes really good and starts banging in massive points. So I'd probably leave it as well. Still, I think.
I guess something as well that
I think
is different to part of the bus in a way is like with this goal bonus one, you want the guys that I feel like it's still early to know who's in like red hot form. Maybe apart from a Haaland or Salah, but you could point out game week 8. You kind of want to know that your players are on fire, sort of going into it a little bit. It's hard to say.
I think as well with the boosters as well. I was in mini league last year where I was top for all season, and the guy behind me kept his boosters back.
Is that Paul?
And he no, it wasn't even. Well, it was in a different league, but this is another guy, and he used them. He used all 3 boosters, one after the other, the last 3 games of the season, and he toppled me. Now, that's not to say that if he'd used them early, he wouldn't have been ahead earlier, but I think with mini leagues as well, depending on where you are with mini leagues, it can be a real, if you don't need to use them almost, if you've got a lead and you still got your boosters, it can be a real, boost, obviously, at the end of the season to really fly you up in those leagues and stuff. So, yeah, I take your point, Scott. I agree. I think it's a bit early to, like, even though Saka as well has got really good fixtures, he hasn't been scoring many goals. He's only got 1 goal this season. So when Saka hits goal scoring form, Saka, Foden, Haaland, Salah hasn't, again, I don't think Salah's only scored 1 goal in the last
he keeps getting a lot of assists now
3
as
or
well,
4 games. This is it. It's a goal bonus, isn't it? Not like a return bonus.
Yeah.
So, yeah, wait.
I wouldn't be surprised if Man City rested Haaland for that game as well, the Slovan game. Do you know? Because they should be able to beat them without the big hitters in there. You know what I mean?
Is there some sort of goal scoring record in the Champions League is after or something though? He'll be fired up for that.
Yeah, true.
There used to be a thing, didn't there, in the Champions League, a contractual thing where you had to play your strongest team. Is that no longer in place, or is that like a myth? I'm sure there was.
He might have one in place that you got to play your Haaland in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Last one. I think it's time to run a team out for this, but the question was, could you name a limitless team with a 3-4-3 setup? Any players?
Who would your third forward be if you could choose? Who would your third forward be?
I'd probably go Watkins. We're all on Salah, Haaland. I'd probably go Watkins at the moment.
Okay.
What about you guys?
Yeah, I think Watkins.
Maybe not for next week. I'm not convinced away to Ipswich home to Bayern is the best fixtures. Ipswich have tightened up a lot. Bayern are obviously a really strong team. I think after that it gets better for Villa. But I'm not planning on bringing in Watkins next week, and that's primarily because of those 2 fixtures. I do think Havertz will outscore Watkins this week, personally. But yeah, Saka, obviously Foden when he gets back into form. Gabriel, Trent, Luis Diaz.
I just can't stop. I know we haven't seen anything from Foden, but I can't stop thinking I'm going to want him at some point in this team.
Definitely, and it's it's an important point as well when you're thinking of like the structure of a team. I've always got in mind you always have to keep an enabler. You don't want to spend all that money and like spread the money, do you? Because this is part of why I stayed with Rodgers. even though he's going through a bit of a lean spell, is because you're going to need that money in the future. I think that's a really important. It's same with defense as well. I think you can't just have all 5+ million defenders, or between 4.5 and 5.5, because then you're having to really shuffle things around to get to Foden and anyone else if they kick off, Watkins. So getting those names in early, like I say, De Ligt and Rodgers are probably 2 players who you can expect probably to do very well in the next few weeks. But primarily they're in because they'll enable you to get whoever you want in one move.
I'm guessing our limitless defence then, we've already said, would be Trent and Gabriel then. Who'd the third? Is it Porro still?
It'd be boring to say Saliba or something like that, wouldn't it? Maybe Porro.
Yeah, if Porro starts in the Europa League, I think he'll be the one.
Yeah, good show. Yeah.
Raya in goal.
What should we do? Should we save the leagues for next week? We're midweek, aren't we?
No, let's quickly go through.
Quickly go.
Ben's had a good week.
Yeah, he must be there. Yeah, I'll get tag up actually. I'll read tag team because Paul and Fergie, they're not actually at the top for a change. Demoted. What have you taken Diaz out for?
I know. God.
Is Paul on you for that?
Well, no, he did it as well. Actually,
did he?
He took him out as well. Cool. I'm blaming Paul because it wasn't even in my mind until he mentioned it.
I've not caught today's episode. We'll plug that in a second. But in the tag team leaderboard, Paul and Fergie in third. We've got P Miller and J Miller in second, and J Bashford and D Bream in first on the tag. You got one up on the screen, Ben?
Yeah, I got the Tonic Patreon members only cash league. Got in third, Jacko Miles. Second, me, Ben Lee. And top, Mark Tavares.
This is not right. I brought up the Euros league. Hang on. Tonic Cash League. Here we go. We've got E Barnes, A Hollingsworth, and S Irvin. No, hang on. I've got a link broken here. It keeps taking me to the Euros one.
Yeah, that's right. That was right, though.
Was it?
Yeah, I pulled it up.
It says Euros on it, though.
No, that's right, mate.
That's strange. Right, I'll double check that. Have you got another one there?
That's it, isn't it? Three mini leagues.
I'm double checking that one. That didn't look right. It kept saying Euros on my screen.
Read out.
No, that is right. I've checked it on the actual app. That's right. Sorry.
Read out Fergie's ultimate mini league as well. I think. Shall we?
Oh yeah. Go on then. Wow, we're doing well.
Let's have a look. I have to pull it up.
Go on, you go.
I know you're doing well, Ben. I'll read it out, shall I?
Yeah, go on, mate.
Top 3, Clive Fisher in third. Ben Lee in second. He's flying. He's third in the Dream Team League, fifth in TFF, and 13th in FPL. And top, Aled Wilcox is flying top of Dream Team, 7th in TFF and 2nd in FPL. This is out of 53 managers. So it's 53 really engaged managers as well. So really good performance. Scott, you're 15th at the moment. Really good season.
It's my Telegraph. It's a new game for me.
Oh, you're 47th in Telegraph. Yeah, but the Telegraph is one you can afford to fall back on because you make the gains later on. So as long as you're one of the others, which you are, I'm currently 19th.
Fourth in FPL, which is all right, and 6th in Dream Team. But that looks a bit ugly, doesn't it? 47.
It's early days, honestly, in Telegraph. Big shout out to Simon Davis, who captained Madison in Dream Team this week, which was a hell of a shout. Very well played.
Straight up captain as well. That's not even max captain.
Straight up captain. That was hell of a show.
He's always doing it, isn't he?
He is. He's a hell of a manager. Really is good.
Well
good
played.
manager.
Cool. Do you want to quickly plug your pod? Because I've not listened to tonight's episode. Just missed you. It was live at 6, wasn't you?
Yeah. So every week, live at 6 o'clock every Monday evening, myself and Paul McNulty do the Nip and a Half podcast, which is briefly. It's about 40 minutes long. and we talk about Dream Team, Telegraph, and FPL, our kind of teams and journey throughout the season. And we run an ultimate leaderboard, which there's 53 managers in this year, as I say, and we're all competing against each other. So it's the average mini league position across the 3 games. But yeah, it's really good. Paul's an exceptional. I hope Paul doesn't listen to this. But he's an exceptional manager, and yeah, we have good fun, hit the piss out of each other, and he always starts. You get that anger in your stomach. He'll go, oh, do you know, I had an awful week in Telegraph this year. This week, like really bad. He'd be like, he'll be like, oh, I only scored 44 points. And I'm sat there on 36 points. Like, absolutely just does it every week. Winds it a bit. But no, he's a really good manager. And yeah, we have really good fun with it. I think he came 4th in this overall last year. But it's really, really hard to do well in it. So yeah, Ben, you fly at the moment. And the fact that you're a really experienced manager as well means you're going to be really hard to claw back. So really good start there. And Scott, you've had a good start yourself. You were top at the start, weren't you? I think you've fallen off a touch, but you're still 15th, which out of 53 is really good going.
Yeah, I had a decent start on FPL. I think it was like 20k last week. Fell off a little bit this week though. Good way to segue though into the hub, because I've been using your points projection. Didn't go as far with the AI prediction. The AI predictor was not liking my team at the start, but yeah, the points projection's been pretty handy on that one. So do you want to give us a little plug on the Fantasy Football Hub?
Yeah, mainly for FPL, but we use artificial intelligence. You can import your team. It'll give you a team rating. It'll tell you where your weaknesses are in your team and give you recommendations for your transfers every week. In FPL, there's also Dream Team content, Telegraph content, lots of it, FPL content from all the best managers in the world. And this is the last week, actually. Now it's 50% off. But after this week, that will be going as well. So yeah, if you if you like FPL and like it all, just give us a shout. If you use the boys' link in the description below this, you get 50% off, and it helps. It helps the boys out as well. So yeah, if you probably heard about us, but yeah, have a look and see what you think. Really good value, and we do WhatsApp groups as well. So not to take away from anything, but we kind of add to it. We've got like hundreds of managers in all our different groups as well, and they're really active and engaged and stuff. So yeah, join us.
Check it out. I like that. The AI one's interesting because, like, obviously at the start of the season, it was obviously recommending like one team, but then once your team is different from the start, it's going to recommend different for everyone a little way, isn't it?
It does, yeah. And it was recommending Wood all
week.
last week.
I saw that.
I went against it again, and Wood scored.
Yeah. I went no chance and went DCL, and now
computer
knows best. Right, we'll wrap that up. But yeah, cheers as always for coming on. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, guys. Really, really enjoy it as usual. Really, it always helps me, with my decisions. So yeah, it's helped me this week. Delete in this week. That's my number one move. Robinson to delete. Oh my God, decided my second move. But yeah, thanks as always, gents. Really appreciate it.
Cheers.
Thanks, mate.
Guys.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, guys.